Thank you. A very warm welcome. Coming up on BBC London. Police step up reassurance patrols in North London after ribbons remembering the hostages of the 7th of October attacks are removed.
We want one day to remember our hostages, our family friends. One day. Can you give us one day? But no.
Well, on this second anniversary, we'll also hear from Londoners across the board, continually calling for peace. Also on the programme, the hobby that petrol heads love but locals loathe, the supermarket car park that's become a magnet for late-night car meets, and
go to an allotment in Hendon, they said. Well, I can tell you, I was not expecting this, and I can quite understand why it has just won a coveted award.
Hello and good evening to you. As we've been hearing, today marks the second anniversary of the 7th of October attacks. We've reported over the last 2 years the impact the Israel-Gaza war is having on communities closer to home here in the capital. More on the ongoing calls for peace in a moment. First, to the Met Police stepping up reassurance patrols in North London today after ribbons put up by the local Jewish community to remember the Israeli hostages were removed. Harry Lowe has more.
I'm not committing a crime.
Yes, you are. This is the moment a woman, thought to be Jewish Palestinian, starts cutting down ribbons, tied to a fence in North London by the Jewish community, to remember the hostages captured by Hamas in Israel exactly 2 years ago.
You disgusting little human being.
Some of them are yet to be released. One of the ribbons is for Guy Gilboa Dilal, a family friend of the man behind the yellow bands.
They're also a symbol for all the other hostages. There's 48 of them still. 20 of them we know are alive. We want those hostages home. We want them home now. And these yellow ribbons, they're not political. They're about humanitarianism. It's all about releasing the hostages, letting these kids go back to their mums and their dads. And when people come and brazenly in front of us bring scissors and cut them down in front of us, we don't take that lightly.
Among those guarding the ribbons is Emma, who says Jews are fearful.
This is already a solemn day for everyone, and to feel so unsupported and to also feel like people are trying to erase the trauma that has happened to Israelis, to the Jewish community, to the families and friends of those hostages is heartbreaking.
The Metropolitan Police told us officers have stepped up reassurance patrols in the Muswell Hill area following reports that yellow ribbons were removed from fence poles. Officers attended the location and are reviewing footage to determine whether any offences, including hate crime or criminal damage, have been committed. Those behind the protests say they'll continue to replace the ribbons as long as it takes for the hostages to be released. Harry Lowe, BBC London.
Well, for the past 2 years, London-based members of the Standing Together movement, which is anti-war and has both Jewish and Palestinian members, have been regularly meeting in the capital, calling for peace in the Middle East, as Aisha Baksh reports.
The continuing war in Gaza to co-resist.
For nearly 2 years, each month, Jews and Palestinians come together here in central London.
The struggle for a true Israeli-Palestinian peace continues.
They share stories, songs and hopes for peace amid the ongoing conflict in Israel and Palestine. The vigils are organised by a group called the UK Friends of Standing Together. In Israel, their supporters have recently taken part in huge demonstrations, calling for the release of all hostages and an end to the war in Gaza.
Part of our message is that the side we're on is the side of people's rights. And we believe that all peoples, in the particular geographical context that we're looking at, all peoples in Israel-Palestine should be entitled to freedom, to self-determination, to dignity, to security and to peace.
And just days after the Manchester synagogue attack, the coming together of communities for many feels even more poignant.
Here in the UK and our side is one of the most essential steps, really, for the Jewish community and the Palestinian community to meet here and work together, because at heart we share the same interests.
Danny and her family regularly attend the vigils here. She's just returned from Israel, where she met with other peace activists.
I believe in the power of people. I believe in the power of relationships and the power of grassroots groups, and that is what gives me hope in Israel and Palestine, just seeing what grassroots people are doing. Part of it is about change and the politics, and part of it is just about people and humanity, and that we need that here now as well.
I tried also to go back for them, to stay with my family there.
Abdurrahman still has family in Gaza. He says peaceful solutions for all must be found.
It's a fact that, it's not about religion or land, it's about humanity. After all these people, all these religions, all these groups, a human being. Violence will never be a solution, because violence will only bring more destruction, more loss. It will never be a solution. So sitting together, joining together, talking together in peaceful way is, I think it will lead for peace after all.
There may have been bigger demonstrations in London recently, but this gathering still reflects a loud desire for peace. Aisha Baksh, BBC London.
Meanwhile, this afternoon, hundreds of students across the capital took part in pro-Palestinian protests. That's despite the Prime Minister earlier urging them not to join it, saying the demonstrations, in his words, would be un-British to have little respect for others on the 7th of October anniversary. Our reporter Barry Caffrey was at one demo and sent this report.
Well, around 250 students took part in this peaceful protest, which began at King's College London on the Strand just after 2 o'clock. Students from KCL, from SOAS, as well as University College London took part in the peaceful protest, and it ended here at Birkbeck University in Bloomsbury shortly after 5 o'clock this afternoon. And a little earlier, I spoke to some students to find out why it was important for them to attend today.
On our phones every day, we all have access to so much information of what's going on. So I don't think that we can sit by and condone what the UN has considered a genocide.
The second anniversary of one of the most horrible events in human history that's been going on, and we're still watching it. And I feel like I have to keep protesting against this, yeah.
We've reached such times that I think killing people isn't necessary to get a point across, but of course what's happening there is it's pretty terrible, so I do understand it.
Well, writing in the Times today, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said the timing of these protests was un-British and showed little respect for others. But at least from the students I spoke to here this afternoon, they told me it was their democratic right to protest peacefully, and they said they hoped that their protest would make some sort of difference. Barry Caffrey, BBC London.
And more on the second anniversary of those attacks on the BBC News website, of course. Good to have you with us on BBC London. Plenty more to come tonight, including how we can now all view the hidden masterpieces at one of London's oldest hospitals for the first time in 300 years. Ayan Ways was 35 years old when she died after giving birth to her first baby, who was stillborn at a London hospital 3 years ago. Today, the coroner at the inquest into her death identified a number of key missed opportunities by Guy's and St Thomas's NHS Trust at various points throughout her pregnancy, but were found not to have directly caused or contributed to her death. Anna O'Neill joins us from outside St Thomas's Hospital with more on this. Anna.
It was here at St Thomas's Hospital, Riz, that Ayan was receiving her maternity care, and it was here that she died in November 2022 from a catastrophic brain hemorrhage, high blood pressure, preeclampsia and an abrupted placenta. Well, today at Southwark Coroner's Court, the Assistant Deputy Coroner, Dr. Lillian Field, recorded a narrative verdict which gives more information but stops short of assigning or apportioning blame to anyone. But she said in her findings that there were key failings and missed opportunities, such as the fact that Ayan had a 4.5-hour wait for an intensive care bed. But the coroner said this didn't mean that that had caused or contributed to Ayan's death. Well, outside the coroner's court today, Ayan's legal team had this to say.
We welcome the coroner's findings that there were tangible missed opportunities to change the course of events before Ayan died. This case highlights how crucial it is that clinical guidelines are followed and that appropriate escalation takes place when there are signs of serious risk to mother and baby. Black women in particular continue to face disproportionately poor outcomes in maternity care, and this case highlights the urgent action needed to address these systemic inequalities.
Ayan's sister Fozia told me about the person Ayan was and the mum she hoped to become.
She was lovely. She loved children, and she was the first to graduate in our family. And all of us, we graduated because of her help and, encouragement. She was a loved auntie. She used to take my children, and have a day with their auntie. When she got pregnant, she was really happy.
In a statement, Guy's and St Thomas's NHS Trust told BBC London the deaths of Ayan and her daughter are a tragedy and her family have our heartfelt sympathies. They said the coroner concluded the actions of our staff didn't cause or contribute to Ayan's death, and they recognised the seriousness with which the Trust has responded to this devastating event. Where the coroner has identified areas for improvement, we are very sorry for the additional distress this has caused and are already taking action. Our deepest condolences are with Ayan's family and friends. And as part of that narrative verdict, Riz, the coroner will be compiling a prevention of future deaths report. That won't come till early December though, so she has more information from Guy's and St Thomas's NHS Trust, and the family has had a chance to respond to that. Back to you.
OK, Anna, with the latest there, many thanks. Let me take a brief look now at some of the other day's stories for you. A man who caused travel chaos after trespassing near Clapham Junction station has been jailed for 8 weeks. 42-year-old Anthony Andre went onto the tracks last month, resulting in dozens of trains being cancelled and hours of delays for passengers. The Metropolitan Police say they've dismantled an international gang that could be responsible for exporting up to half of all the phones stolen in London. Officers say 18 suspects have been arrested and more than 2,000 stolen devices recovered as part of the UK's biggest operation against phone thefts. Now, as you may have heard this hour, a company providing accommodation to London's asylum seekers has made nearly £187 million in profits since being awarded lucrative government contracts. That's despite allegations of terrible conditions at the hotels it uses. Tara Welsh has been speaking to some of those people living in the hotels and joins me now. Hi, Tara. Tell us what you found.
Well, there's been lots of disquiet over the cost of asylum seekers living in hotels. But over the last few months, a number of charities and asylum seekers have come to me about what they say are miserable conditions in London hotels. And one man, Arturo, has been keeping a video diary for us.
In the morning, arrive, what type of the food, eat the same food for the dinner or even for the next day. When you try it, you can feel the vinegar. What is the mean? The food is bad.
Well, Arturo and others I've spoken to living in hotels are subcontracted by Clear Springs Ready Home. Now, it's not a hotel itself, it's a contractor for the south of England, and it's one of 3 companies who are paid to provide accommodation and support for asylum seekers. Now, the company's profits have increased more than 100-fold since getting the contract in 2019, and those contracts were given out under the previous Conservative government. Now, I've spoken to charities who say that not only is the food poor, but basic items like loo roll and sanitary towels are either rationed and in some cases not given out at all. And at Hackney Food Bank, it says it's having to help provide those for people.
These are the toiletries, you've got the deodorants here, shampoo. We've got body soap.
But these are meant to be in hotels, right?
These are those are the basic items that should be given. For example, loo rolls here. So these are all should be given to them from the hotel. But of course, we know that they are coming to us for these items.
Well, we approached Clear Springs several times about whether it's providing value for money and about the conditions, and it's declined to comment on this. But it's previously told MPs that it's working hard to reduce hotel use. And when it comes to concerns about its providers, it raises it with them and works with them. Now, there's no suggestion that there's been any breach of contract, and the provider has said it will pay back some of its profits to the Home Office as agreed under the initial contract. And the government told us it's reduced the asylum backlog by 24% and it's cut hotel spending by £500 million.
OK, Tara, thank you. And I know that there's more on that story and further analysis on our website, the BBC London website. Thank you. Tara Welsh there. OK, to car meets now, the hobby that petrolheads love but locals loathe. In one part of southeast London, a supermarket car park has become a magnet for the late-night meets, screeching tyres and clouds of smoke. But with growing pressure from the community and police, action is being taken. However, are these measures enough to tackle the issue across the capital? Nora Fakim has the story.
This Tesco car park in Elmer's End in southeast London looks like any ordinary supermarket lot by day. But by night, it can transform into a completely different scene. These pictures were filmed by one of the local residents.
As I drove towards Tesco's car park, I could see an array of people, lights on, screeching. The noise was a screeching of cars skidding, and the smell and the smoke was quite intense. I started to get a little bit wary for my safety. I wasn't scared of the people there. I was just scared because in case the car went out of control and it might have hit me. And I was more shocked at the fact, hang on a minute, there's no police here.
The police say they're working with the local supermarket to clamp down on the issue. It's a problem seen across the capital. Over the summer, the Met Police seized 72 luxury cars worth over £6 million in a crackdown on antisocial driving. But as enforcement ramps up, some car enthusiasts say they're being caught in the middle.
And then there's one at the very...
Jamie, who shares his passion for cars on TikTok...
Just like that, we've got M-style mirror caps. They're a lot brighter than the OGs.
Says the car community in London is shrinking due to its bad rep.
We've all seen on social media where people do stupid stuff, dangerously drive, and are just a general nuisance to the public. However, I don't think that they should speak for the rest of us, as in the end of the day, we're just guys trying to show off our cars to each other, discuss what we've done to them, what we want to do, and, you know, trade knowledge. It's a hobby in the end of the day. It doesn't have to escalate.
Back in southeast London, the local MP says enough is enough.
1,000 people have signed a petition to end it, and what we've asked Tesco to do is to install a permanent barrier at the entrance to the car park, which will put an end to it once and for all.
We reached out to Tesco, who replied with the following. We take reports of antisocial behaviour within our car parks very seriously and have been working proactively to prevent such incidents involving groups of motorists. With the police increasingly cracking down on scenes like this, and enthusiasts having less options than before, tackling the problem of antisocial driving may neither be fast nor furious. Nora Fakim, BBC London.
To something much calmer now. They're a sanctuary to many across the capital if you're lucky enough to have one. Little green pockets to nurture and enjoy. There are many beautiful allotments in our communities across the capital, but one in Brent has been in full bloom and has now won Top Allotment of the Year. So what does it take to become a top plot? Wendy has spent the day there finding out.
There's a few lurking right up the top here.
Here is an allotment like no other. Head judge for the Gardena Top of the Plots competition was so awed, he thought the entry had been generated by AI. It's all real, though.
Mind if I try it?
Go ahead, come on. 14 years hard work.
That's good.
By Steve Mills.
I had a blank canvas, and I've always wanted to grow apples. And I've always wanted to walk through and just pick an apple as I'm walking through.
Yeah, well spotted.
He doesn't want to go.
Yeah, give it a tug.
Oh, his friend went instead.
I think that's where the idea of the arches came from. And yeah, it just went from there.
Around 100 fruit trees create a frame through which squash, clematis and wisteria weave and dangle. There are 28 different kinds of apples.
If you lift them up and they come off easily in your hand, that means they're ready.
The West Hendon Allotment Society in Barnet is a community of people from all over the world.
Does that diversity reflect in the sort of plants that are being grown here?
Yes, everybody brings something from where they come from. So we're learning about unusual varieties or different cultivars from time to time. I know us as South Africans, we like our gem squash. So I grow quite a lot of them as well. So that's what I brought.
Steve tends his plot only at the weekends. The rest of the time he works in a grounds maintenance team for Westminster Council.
Almost like a busman's holiday coming up here on a weekend. But I have that passion for plants, and having my own allotment gives me the opportunity to do what I want to do. And if I do something wrong, it's not a problem. I just correct it or just carry on.
Don't get told off by your
Yes,
boss.
that's correct, yes.
He grows a few veggies mixed in with ornamental plants. It's the attention to detail that was praised by the judges. Special mention to the striped lawn.
I know it's unique and I know it's different, and I thought, how do I share it with other people? So I thought, well, if I entered into a competition, hopefully a little bit of publicity and people will see it and maybe get inspired by what I've done and take some of those ideas and use it for themselves. And then to get the award at the end was, took my breath away. Was not expecting that, not at all.
Wendy Hurrell, BBC London.
OK, now for the first time in nearly 300 years, the public is being invited inside one of London's oldest hospitals to view some hidden masterpieces like this. Two of William Hogarth's murals have been carefully restored at the north wing of St Bartholomew's Hospital in a multi-million-pound restoration. Alpa Patel headed to the Grade 1 listed building to show us more.
For decades, it was a building in decline. But £9.5 million has repaired, rescued and restored this 18th century building, including the grand staircase, painted by Londoner William Hogarth, which include these two giant biblical murals called the Pool of Bethesda and the Good Samaritan.
So how is it that William Hogarth ended up painting these murals? Well, it's reported that the hospital was going to commission an Italian artist. So as a local boy, he offered to paint them for free.
Will Palin, who is heading up the project, says it's important the public can access the building for the first time in 300 years.
It's a significant new cultural attraction in the City of London. It's very unusual. We're still embedded in this busy working hospital, and it's a hidden treasure, and nobody really knows about the Hogarths or indeed the Great Hall. So it's lovely to be able to welcome people to this building for the first time.
I come from Perth in Western Australia, and I read about it at some point to find that it's open to the public just before I fly back as well. I'm very excited, very excited.
It is brilliant, and I encourage people to come and see the paintings, the staircase and this great hall, the fabulous stained glass window. It's marvellous.
Others we met said it's also a much-needed space for patients and their families.
Visiting people in hospital can actually be really expensive, and finding a place to sit that
where you can actually just stop and think and reflect on whatever it is going on in your life. So even as visitors to a hospital, it can be really stressful. So it's really nice that there's a quiet place for people to come to.
And that place had to look perfect for the public, which has required going the extra mile.
You've been working hard, haven't you? Tell us about your hoovering.
Yeah, I've been hoovering the staircase, doing a bit of dusting. We're so proud of the building. We wanted everything to look absolutely perfect for when the public first came through the door.
Protecting the past for future generations. Alpa Patel, BBC London.
And with that, time for the weather with Kate. And it feels like a calm week, or shouldn't I have said that?
No, it does actually, which is exactly what we needed after the weekend and storm, Amy. So yes, it has been quite calm. Now today we didn't quite have the wall-to-wall sunshine that we had yesterday. It was largely cloudy, interspersed with a few breaks in those clouds. So we did see just glimpses of sunshine. Now it's all eyes to the sky this evening. It is the first supermoon of 2025, the harvest moon or the hunter moon. It's mostly cloudy, I'm afraid, but there are a few clear spells, so little glimpses of the moon possible, and then thicker cloud on the way a little bit later. Now, you can see as we head into the evening, those clearer spells that I was talking about. We have got some gaps in there, so round about now you might be able to see it for the next hour or so, but that cloud is sinking south. Now, it should stay largely dry tonight. Minimum temperature dropping down to 9 or 10 Celsius, but you'll notice this is the thicker cloud that I was talking about, and that's moving south. With that, it's a cold front. So as we head into Wednesday morning, we're looking at that thick cloud covering all parts, moving south. You can see just a little bit of blue mixed in there, some light patchy rain possible, but not guaranteed as that cold front clears. Now, it will take its time, but into the afternoon, the cloud should start to break as it sinks south. So we might just see some sunshine, some of us, by the end of the day. Temperatures tomorrow hanging on to something vaguely warm, but once that cloud clears south, that 18 degrees is a distant memory. That's overnight. We've got clear skies and colder air will move in behind it. So it's actually going to be quite chilly overnight Wednesday into Thursday. But the clouds you can see staying over here. So for Thursday morning, we have a brighter start. We have got a bit of sunshine. We will see more cloud moving in as we head towards the end of the night. Temperatures on Thursday back up at around 17 or 18 Celsius. Now, high pressure starts to build as we head towards the end of the week and into the weekend. So we're going to hang on to largely settled conditions, but still some cloud. Riz.
OK, Kate, thanks very much. And that is where we leave you. So thanks very much for watching. We heard about allotments earlier, didn't we? Well, on our website, find out which famous London museum is to get a garden classroom for children. Other stories there, of course, too. From me and all the team, do have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.